What is the New York Jets ceiling with this version of Aaron Rodgers?
Stephen A., this is what we're doing. Now, notice we didn't ask this after the Monday night butt kicking 49ers put on them.
Obviously.
Now you go beat the New England Patriots.
Right.
Really?
Right.
You beat the Patriots. And no one thought the Patriots were world beaters. Aaron Rodgers played unbelievable. Yes, the Jets defense got after Jacoby Brissett. They ended up bringing in Drake May. But let's not do this. Let's not overreact. I don't think anybody thinks the Patriots are going anywhere. But given what I saw from Aaron Rodgers, he was able to move. I didn't like the game plan the Patriots had because they forced Aaron Rodgers out the pocket. Do you realize how great he is on the move, throwing the football, Stephen A.? He's one of the historically great quarterbacks in all of football, spinning the ball outside of the pocket. But with what you asked me, Molly, I believe they can make it to the playoffs. It's all going to be about matchups, about how far they can go. Let's just see, because we saw when they played a competent offense in the 49ers, what their defense looked like. Has Stephen A. coming out here talking about, well, I thought that defense was going to be better shape. I'm going to be honest with you. And now they don't.
Coaches on the hot seat. We're ready to fire the whole staff.
Exactly. So I will say this. They have an opportunity. I believe they can make the playoffs. Some people believe they can win the division because the Buffalo is short-handed, and Tua is on IR for the next 4 weeks at mid. So with that being said, I'm going to say they can make the playoffs, and according to who the matchup is, will determine how far they can go in the playoffs.
Well, let me tell you something, man. I don't agree with you at all, Shay. I don't agree with you at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you right now, Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. And the man showed up last night. So that's where the question really, really evolves. If he looks like that, what does it do for the New York Jets? And I think it makes them a Super Bowl contender. That's what I think.
Oh, my goodness.
Listen, excuse me.
Whoa, wait. Can we pump the brakes a little bit?
Can I finish my
Get that
point?
cup.
Yeah, what is in that? Is that some of your cognac?
I don't recall interrupting nobody. I don't recall interrupting anybody. I let y'all speak. Here's the deal, okay?
Blasphemy.
Here's the deal. It's not blasphemy, damn it.
Super Bowl?
Because we're talking about Aaron Rodgers.
It was the
We're talking about Aaron
Patriots.
Rodgers, okay? That's what we're
Patriots.
talking about here, okay?
Not Tom Brady's Patriots.
We understand when you look at the New York Jets, it's the New England Patriots. Your offensive line was backed up. You sacked the quarterback 7 times. Jacoby Brissett 5 times. Drake made 2 times. We get all of that. But we did expect the Jets defense to be relatively elite coming into the season. So we're not going to look at them and say that's just a product of them going against the New England Patriots, right? Now let's get to the offensive side of the ball. Do you understand that the Jets have been committed a crime for the last 14 years because they couldn't put a quarterback on the damn football field in the sport of football?
Yeah.
They got one now. And what we were looking at, we had Chris Canty on the air the other day talking about Stephen A. That was the most asinine comment he made because of Aaron Rodgers. What he go out and do? Aaron Rodgers was watching First Take. That's what that was about. He was watching First Take. He saw me come to his defense. He saw Chris Canty come at him the wrong way, and he said, yo, Stephen A., I got you, bro.
Or did he just go in a dark room and meditate?
And he showed up. No, it's about me, Molly. It's about me. He showed up. 281 yards passing, passer rating big time, okay? You know, a couple of touchdown passes as well. If that Aaron Rodgers shows up, the New York Jets got a chance. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, but everybody else is up for grabs. You don't know what about Joe Burrow and his health. You don't know about Lamar Jackson in the postseason. You don't know whether or not Josh Allen going to make it to the postseason. Tua's already hurt, okay? We're looking at Justin Herbert in Los Angeles. We got to wonder about that. It's nice so far. Let's see if that continues. We look at Houston. Their defense has been big time, but offensively, they need to be better. There's a lot of question marks in the AFC, and if anybody is qualified to exploit those question marks, it is Aaron Rodgers.
Well, he's back on the bandwagon.
Hold on, time out. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How's Aaron Rodgers been in the postseason?
Well, he hasn't been great in recent memory.
What you mean recent?
Recent, exactly.
With the exception of that one season, he hasn't been great at all.
No, I have no recollection of that. I have no recollection of that.
Can he tell us about those good years?
Listen, this is Aaron Rodgers talking.
Yes.
Time league MVP.
Yes.
It's not like he's only had one good playoff game. Come on now. He's got some experience where he's delivered in the postseason. In recent memory, he has struggled. In Green Bay, back-to-back loss to San Francisco, no doubt. I have nothing to say in his defensive memory.
He did lose. He lost to Jimmy G twice.
I know. He lost to Jimmy G in San Francisco. Yes, I said San Francisco.
You remember when Jimmy G went to Green Bay and beat him? And then Devontae Adams ended up leaving?
I remember that.
Steve, all I'm saying is what happens when they play a competent offense and the defense can't get 7 sacks and the quarterback play isn't anemic on the other side of the football. Then what? Look, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. Yes, the offensive line is better. They can run the football with that two-headed monster, Breece Hall and Allen. Yes, I get that. I love what I saw from Garrett Wilson. Mike Williams seems to be coming. And we know Aaron Rodgers loves throwing the football to the tight end, and they made some big-time plays when he was outside of the pocket. But let's not overreact to what, because you didn't say, oh, they were Super Bowl contender when they played the 49ers.
Well, actually, I did pick before the season them to win the AFC East. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, I did say they got a chance to be in the AFC Championship game against Patrick Mahomes. I said these things, Shay.
Is this a bigger game for Baltimore or Dallas?
I think the game is of grave importance for both teams, but I'm going to take the Cowboys because they're at home. And coming off that humiliating loss that they have last week, you know, everybody wants to win the game, guys, and we know that, whether you win by, but it was the fashion in which they lost. It's humiliating. The opening game.
Oh, we got your jersey.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's so humiliating to be able to have the ball run down your throat the way Alvin Kamara and that Saints offensive line dominated the game. And they can ill afford, because you got another team that's coming in there that can also run the football. And if you go back and study the Cowboys over the last 5-6 years, teams that have been able to go into Dallas and beat them have been able to run the football. Yeah. You look at Cleveland, you look at the Ravens many years ago, you look at Arizona, you look at Philly, you look at what transpired last week against the Saints. I think this game is of utmost, of cataclysmic importance for the Cowboys, and the fact Dak just got the largest contract in NFL history.
Well, I completely disagree with you. I completely disagree with you. First of all, the Eagles losing didn't hurt things for the Cowboys. That helped. Secondly, I'm looking at the Ravens right now. You're 0-2. We've been talking about how tough the AFC conference is going to be this year.
The Bengals
are
0-2.
I understand that. But you look at the Ravens, it's how you're losing as well. Play action, they're getting destroyed. Play action, they're getting destroyed. You can do what you want to do against them in play action situations. Not that I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be able to do that. We'll see. They're second in the league right now with penalties, 173 yards and penalties over the first 2 games. That's not impressive as well. And so I look at them and I say to myself, dating back to the AFC Championship game last year, Lamar Jackson has lost 3 straight starts for the first time in his career. You trying to tell me they could lose a 4th straight and it ain't that big of a deal? I think it's a very, very big deal. If you're Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, you're in the NFC East, you ain't worried about the Commanders, you ain't worried about the Giants. All you got to worry about is Philadelphia Eagles, and they've got a bevy of problems. You're looking at the rest of the NFC Conference. That's up for grabs itself. I think Dallas can easily recover from a loss like this rather than the Ravens being 0-3.
Yeah, I think I agree with Stephen A. about the Ravens, because Dallas, I understand the records are different in the division. They aren't as bad, but those teams aren't good. We actually believe the Bengals might be good. The Steelers look like they're pretty good. The Browns have talent, so that's a more competitive division, even though the record doesn't say so. And the truth about Dallas is they're the same. They're the same 12-4 or 12-6 team that they were 12-5 team that they were last year, because the style of play is the same. They couldn't stop the run last year. They can't stop the run now. If they get out to a big lead and then they can rush the passer, they're going to be able to win a lot of games. The question, though, is that if the Ravens, they have big questions with what's wrong with their cornerback position. Nate Wiggins is injured. Okay. He's supposed to step in and be that corner. They haven't replaced Clowney in the pass rush. That defense is giving up more big plays than any Ravens defense that I can remember in recent history.
We got anti-Dallas chants. We hear you guys. We got 2 former Ravens here for you. So you should feel good about that.
This is why I disagree with you guys. But what have we seen from the Cowboys over years past? When things start to go bad, they go to hell in a handbasket. Right. So we've seen that once they start losing games, multiple games, it normally snowballs. We saw how they kind of backed into the playoffs last year, and we saw what happened. I just think the thing is, because they're at home, you don't want to lose back-to-back games at home and lose them in the fashion in which they lost the game
back-to-back if you count the playoff game.
Exactly.
It's a mess.
And you got a team that can run the football. The Baltimore Ravens are going to be more committed to running the football, considering Max Crosby wrecked shop last week. That offensive line, they got a couple of new starters in there. They're nicked up, and they're not as good as they normally are in the offensive line. They need to run the football, because the one thing you don't want to do with the Cowboys is fall behind and let D-Law and Michael Parsons and that front 4 pin their ears back and come get your quarterback. I think the Ravens are hell-bent on running the football.
Yes, they should be.
The Cowboys got to buckle down.
The Cowboys 1-5 all time against the Ravens' career. That's their worst against any single opponent.
And it should be 1-6, because you can't defend the run, and Baltimore has Derrick Henry, which is my point. If you can't beat the Dallas Cowboys with Derrick Henry in the backfield and Lamar Jackson as your quarterback, that's a bad sign.
Can we just talk about the Ravens for a second?
Yeah.
Because obviously I was trying to be a little bold, believing in Lamar, sexy with my picks. I had the Packers out of the NFC. Didn't fare so well. I was getting on Stephen A. because he had the rematch of the Niners and the Chiefs, and that's panning out well. How good is this Ravens team actually, especially when we look at the offense?
The problem is the Ravens team is incredibly talented, but the problem is they're doing things that they never have done before, and they have some new issues along their offensive line. They're not able to run the ball the way that they were in the past. They're not able to protect Lamar the way that he needs to, and it's in pivotal moments. So, like, they protect him well until you need to on 3rd and 7. You know, those are the pivotal moments that we need from him. And on the defensive side of the ball, they're giving up big plays.
Yeah.
And they have most of their personnel back with Hamilton and Smith and Matabike, but they're missing the edge rushers, and I think it's really debilitating this defense. And they can't kick field goals anymore. I know it sounds like a small thing, but Justin Tucker was the best field goal kicker in football, and Harbaugh's a special teams coach. I think this is really a different Ravens team than we were anticipating.
And Shay, I feel like obviously anyone wants Derrick Henry on the team, but it almost feels like it's creating some more problems for them as well.
Well, I think they're trying to use him. Derrick Henry is not a zone read back. You got to put him in the eye and toss it or hand it to him. But when you put him in a zone read scheme and you let him do this, he needs to get ahead of steam. He's a big guy. He's a long strider. So he needs to be about 8 yards deep.
Yeah.
You toss it to him or you hand it to him.
Right.
But they're different. And I think the thing is the Baltimore Ravens going to have to play football a lot different than they have in the past. Those days of every time it's 4th and 2 or less to going for it, you're putting your defense in harm's way, and that defense is not good enough to consistently overcome that.
All I'm trying to say to you is you're making my argument for me. Because if I got Lamar Jackson and I get the opportunity to hand the ball off to a Derrick Henry against a defense that's prone and suspect against the run, and you still go out and lose that game, I'm sorry, then all of a sudden, these are dire circumstances that we're looking at for the Baltimore Ravens, because if you can't run on the Dallas Cowboys, when you're 0-2 and desperate for a win, and you still can't find a way to manufacture a running game and take advantage of a flagrant Achilles heel on their part, then I don't know what to think about you the rest of the way.